Okay, so let's get started. I hope that everyone is doing fine, that you had a chance to go outside, at least for a walk. It's important to keep our exercising, at least some walking. We have been inside for too long. Yesterday I had a chance to take a break and have a walk around the area that I live. Actually, I went through places that I have not been before, like under a bridge. But those are what I would call the urban adventures. That's the only adventure that I think that we can afford at this time. So I hope that you have your urban adventures as well, at least some walking. Okay, so our week 13. So on our week 13, what I have planned is I have planned demonstrations and exercises. Okay, so this week I will start today by walking you through the last exercise that you have done, which hopefully, again, you can give me some feedback there. Good morning, Teresa. You can give some feedback there. Anyone had a chance to do exercise 14? Anyone there? Awesome, Teresa. You have questions? I'm hoping that I have answers for you, Teresa. Anyone had a chance to do exercise 14? Important that you take some time to do the exercise, because as I mentioned before, next week, we're gonna be doing something very similar to those exercises in our final, okay? So it's important. So regardless if you have done or not, I'm gonna walk you through this exercise today from start to finish in details, and then you're gonna have a chance to do a follow-up exercise using the topics that we have been covering. Okay, so more about graphical application, graphical user interface. You're gonna be practicing that. You're gonna be, using that for the next set of exercise here. But for this one to get going, Teresa, well, I have Padlet open, so in case you want to ask me questions on Padlet, you can. Teresa, you have some questions. I'm not sure if it's for the exercise or for something else. Maybe if it's for the exercise, as I go along the exercise. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be demonstrating the exercise step by step. Hopefully your questions will be addressed. If they are not, just ask them in the appropriate place within the exercise, okay? Anyone has any questions beyond the exercise before I get it started? Anything that anyone would like to clarify or ask? The code, I'm gonna be demonstrating the exercise and the code will be uploaded afterwards. Just a quick reminder, our assignment 4 is due the end of this week. I'm going through right now grading assignment 3. Okay, so in the next 3 to 4 days, you're gonna have them all live. What else? This week as well, next Thursday, we will have our last quiz, which will cover graphical user interface and test-driven development. Okay, so use this time well to ask your questions if you have not had a chance to do the exercise. So here's exercise 14. Create a Visual Studio solution and project called bank. Okay, so let's do that. Oops, this is the actual solution. So let me. Okay, So I'm gonna create this guy here. It's supposed to be called bank. Okay, so let's go there. Let's go File, New Project. Then I'm gonna get a Windows Forms app and .NET framework, and this is called bank. Again, keep this unchecked if you are using 2019. If you are using 2017 Visual Studio, there is a checkbox in the corner that you should actually keep it checked. It has the same effect as this one, but this one you uncheck, that other one you actually check it because it's the opposite type of question here. Okay, so bank, create. And I have something already called bank there, but let me rename that. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, so Yoga, I am demonstrating exercise 14. Okay, so I'm going through exercise 14, which is this one here. Exercise 14, I'm going point by point there, and I'll be addressing that. I'll be demonstrating that, okay? So we have created our project called bank. Inside our project, we're gonna call a class called bank account, okay? And we're gonna create that inside a file called bank account. It's fine. So let's go here. It becomes like that, but now it should be back. Okay. So we are starting to create our class. Here we have, so let's start with balance there. And just rearrange my screens here. Okay, so we have a private double balance. Balance will be storing the, well, balance of the account. Okay, it will be the balance, how much is available in the account. Then we have the properties account number, balance, and customer name. Okay, so account number and customer name, they are auto-implemented, okay? So here we have account number, an integer, we have a get and a set. There are no private fields there, so we are auto-implementing this. Customer name as well, we are using an auto-implementation. However, balance, if you see in the diagram, it only has a get, and because we have a private field balance, we're gonna be getting from it. Okay, so you're gonna say public double balance, and we're gonna get from it. We're gonna say return balance. Okay, now we have done this top part, fields and properties. Now we have two methods in one constructor, okay? So let's take care of the constructor already. So the constructor has 3 parameters, each parameter going to one of the fields or properties there, to one of the fields. Sorry, to one of the properties. So account number, customer name, and balance here, okay? So let's put that together. Let's do the constructor now. So here's the constructor, and we have a public name of the class, which is the name of the constructor, and then we're gonna have one parameter for each property. We're gonna say int account number, then we have string customer name, and then we have balance. So every time we create a new account, we say the number, the customer name, and we tell how much is in the balance. This is a double, of course. and then we're gonna set things up here. So what should I do for the account number? How should this look like for the account number? Anyone can put something in the chat or on Padlet. So for account number, yes, so just like that. So you're gonna say account number, the property account number. We're gonna say account number equals to this account number here. We're gonna say the same thing for the customer name. We're gonna say customer name equals to customer name lowercase, which is the one from the parameter. And then what about balance? What should I do with balance here? Should I say this? Yeah, actually, that's correct, younger Teresa. I cannot say this because this is the property, and property right now is read only. Okay, it's read only. Property is read only, so there is no set. So I cannot, yes, Teresa, I cannot set it. Okay, so I have to say something like this dot balance, and the reason why I have to use this keyword is because balance is present inside the constructor and as a private field as well. So for me to specify that I want to say the field receives the parameter balance, I have to use the keyword this, so there is no confusion. Okay? If this is not clear, please ask, please tell me. Okay, then moving forward here, we have the methods. We have a deposit and a withdraw. Okay, so let's start with the withdraw. Withdraw method should deduct the amount passed from the balance field and update the new balance. Okay, so that's what the withdraw will subtract. Okay, will subtract from the balance. So I'm gonna say public withdraw. We don't need to return a value. We just need to update the balance. Okay, so we're gonna say void withdraw, and I'm gonna say double as a parameter, type, and amount is the amount that you're gonna withdraw. Okay, and here inside, for now, I'm just gonna say balance equals to balance minus the amount. Okay, just to make it very clear what we're doing. Now I can use a short version of this. I can say balance minus equal to amount. These two are the same. Okay, it will have the same result. This will get the balance and subtract this amount. So I'm just gonna keep the second one here for now. So we are subtracting from one. Let's see what else here. Perfect. And then, so let's stop right there with the withdraw. Then we're gonna do something similar to the deposit method. Okay, so in the deposit, I'm gonna say public void deposit. This accepts a double as the amount, and we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna say balance plus equals to amount. So the withdraw is subtracting and the deposit is adding. Okay, very simple. Yes, very, very simple. Now things will start to get a little bit more interesting here. So within the withdraw methods, if the amount is greater than the balance, throw an exception. Okay, it makes sense. How can I withdraw more than what I have in my balance? Of course, banks will allow an over limit, but in our simple application here, we're not gonna allow for that. Okay, so we're gonna just say I'm just gonna copy this. I'm just gonna say something like this. Before we update the balance, I'm gonna say if amount is greater than balance, throw new exception. Okay, so we're throwing an exception if the amount is greater than. Now, if the amount, yeah, Teresa, if you want to type, you can. If you want voice, you can do that as well. I'll leave it up to you. Okay, when you put the try-catch block, the system was complaining. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing, Teresa. We're gonna put a try-catch block, but let's always keep one thing in mind. Always. And for this course, I'm gonna say always here. When you throw an exception, you throw to someone else catch. You don't throw for you to catch. Okay? In coding, what we're doing here, it does not make sense to throw and catch at the same time. You throw to someone else. If you are throwing and catch, then there's no reason to throw. You can do something else. So here in the withdraw, we will only keep throw. The try-catch block will be in the place that is calling the withdraw. That's what I'm gonna say at first. Now, Teresa, that's one point. The next point for you, Teresa, is that you put the try-catch. You could have put a try-catch here, but it's not outside the method, okay? You put the try-catch like this. See, try-catch block cannot be outside the method. It has to be inside the method, okay? So you cannot have the try-catch block encompassing the entire method definition, including the method header. No, it has to be inside the method, not outside, okay? Great. Yeah, so again, 2 points. One is that let's catch with the try block where it's calling, not here. First one. But if you insist to catch it here, make it inside the method, not outside. Okay? Perfect. Okay. And if anyone has any questions about that, please ask. Okay? Okay. So moving forward here. In both withdraw and deposit methods, if the amount is 0 or less, throw an exception. Yeah, I'm not gonna deposit or withdraw 0 or minus $100. It doesn't make sense, okay? So we're gonna throw another exception on that case as well, okay? So what I can do is this. In the withdraw, I can say if amount is equals or, sorry, this one here. If amount is less than or equal to 0, I'm gonna throw another exception. This one will be a different one. I'm gonna throw a new, I'm gonna say argument exception, argument out of range exception. And I can say, I can give a message. I can put a message here, okay? I'm gonna say amount cannot be 0 nor negative, okay? Amount cannot be 0 nor negative. Okay, so we test the first case, throws an exception, the second case, throws an exception, If it doesn't fit any one of those, it will process the balance correctly. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing for the deposit. Before we are able to deposit, we're gonna check if the amount is greater than 0. Okay? Okay. Again, any questions? Use this time well. I did miss. Let me see. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, caller 006. Yes, I missed another parenthesis there. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, so now let's carry on with what the exercise is asking. Okay, so now we have to put together our application, and it should look like this. Something like this. Okay, so let's make that our next task. And we're going to start by naming our form. And it asks here for us to name our form FRM transaction, because this will be processing a transaction. Okay, so let's do this. Let's rename the form and make our form look like this. So we're going to go to our form. Let's call it in the name FRM transaction, and then we can put the title, bank account, bank transaction, or something like that. So you're gonna say in the title, in the text title, the title of the window, I'm gonna say bank account. Okay, and now we start to draw our interface. That's what we do. We are drawing the interface. So let's start with the two. Which controls are those? The one that says account information and transaction. Which controls are these ones? Anyone in the chat? Come on, what is the name of those controls? Of the control. It's the same type of control. The one here. Label. Is that the label? So see, look, we have this square around. Okay, group box. So yeah, we have the square around. So the label at the top with the square around, this whole thing is called a group box. That's the name of our control. So I'm gonna go here to our toolbox. And let's see, group box, we have two. One here. The other one close by. And we're gonna call the first one account information and then transaction, okay? So I'm gonna say in the text, account information. In the next one, transaction. Now I'm gonna just increase the font. Look what happened here. By accident, I double clicked here and it created this event for me. I don't want that. So I'm not going to delete it from here. I'm gonna save everything. I'm gonna go back to the form. I can go to the group box. I can go to the events of the group box. I can delete it from here, hit enter, save it again. Now you can go back to the codes. See, sometimes it gets rid of the codes of the empty event by itself, okay? So it's not even there anymore. That's the right way to remove an event that you don't want. Anyway, I wanted to change the font, so I can increase it a little bit more. So we have font here, and we can increase the size. Let's say make it 11 and make it bold. And here we have size as well. I'm gonna make this 11 and bold 2. Okay, so we have account information. And then we have in the first group box, Notice that I did not rename the group boxes because I really don't care about their names, because I'm not going to refer to them in the code. If you name everything, that's fine. Okay, no problems about that. So the first one, we're going to have, inside the first one, we're going to have 6 labels. 3 of them, I don't care about their names. 3 of them, I do care because I'll be using them in the code. So you're going to have 6 labels there. Okay, so let's put them together. So labels. By the way, as you can see, it comes with the same font as the group box because it inherits from it. You can always go back to the font and let's say I want to reduce the size and I don't want it to be bold, so you can just reset it back. So you're gonna have a few here. Actually, let's make it slightly bigger. I can select all of them and I can increase their size at the same time. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna select everything. I'm gonna copy and paste, and I'm gonna keep them aligned. And then I'm gonna account number, put the text, account number, name, and balance. Okay, so account number. Client name. And we have balance here as well. And then we have, now, these are different. These I do want to put proper names to them. Okay, so I'm gonna say this one here is LBL, the prefix, LBL account number. This one here, LBL customer name, and the last one here we have LBL balance. And I'm gonna bold. See, look, very easy to double click by accident and create events. It's better if you leave it there. Don't worry too much about them. You can, maybe if you want, you can clean them up later. I'm just trying to select all of them so I can bold them all at the same time because I want to make the font bold. Okay, and that's it about those. And then we put together now the transactions part. So we have, which control are these ones here. Again, give me a shout out in the chat. Control. Give me the control and what is the prefix of the control. Teresa is asking a question. Okay, should it go to text? You mean? Actually, let me tell you this, Teresa. We don't care too much about the text right now. By the way, I need to reduce the size of this because it's a bit too big. That's okay. Anyway, we don't need to care about the text because we're gonna be changing the text as soon as we run the application. Okay, these should be the names, not. Sorry, actually, I may have done a mistake here. Actually, you're right. You're right, Teresa. Sorry about that. I changed the text, not the name. I mixed up. Let me fix this. So I put the names of the controls in the text property. It should be the name. So I'm just cutting from the text and pasting it in the name. Okay. I would recommend that you leave something in the text just because otherwise you won't be able to see the label. Okay. So I'm just leaving something there just so I can see the label in place. But let me fix my mistake here. Okay. Yeah, so again, color 6 and Teresa, thank you for that. Okay, so now let's go to the second area there. So we have, so what I asked is what is the control name and what is the prefix of that control? Can you please put something in the chat? The name of the control and the prefix that you're going to be using for these two controls here. Well, it's radio something, okay? So radio what? And the prefix, yes, so radio button and the prefix, you can, if you want to memorize that, BTN is the button prefix. For radio button is RBTN, okay? So the prefix, yes, RBTN, perfect. So that's it. Yeah, thank you, Teresa. So we're gonna put radio buttons there. So we have two radio buttons. Let's reduce the size. And let's not make them bold. So we're gonna say RBTN with draw, and the text we're gonna say withdraw, and then I'm gonna just copy and paste. And this one here will be RBTN deposit. And the text will be deposit. And then we have a label, which I don't care about the name, and we have a text box for the amount. So I'm gonna say label amount, and then we have a text box, and I'm gonna put the default for this text box as 0, and the name will be txt amount. And I think that should be it from a UI standpoint. Let me double check. So we have the button as well. So we have the process button. So I'm gonna go after a button here. Sorry, btn process in the text property will be process. And I'm just gonna take the font, unbold this. Perfect. Okay. So if we run, I just want to see if this is looking okay. So I'm gonna give it a quick run. Okay, all good here. Now let's code the behavior. Okay, so let's keep reading the exercise and see what's next. So we have named our form as FRM transaction. It's asking to declare a private object or a private field, if you may say of type bank account called my account within the class FRM transaction. Okay, so we're gonna go to the code. And we're gonna download, we're gonna create, we're gonna declare at the top here a private field, private bank account, my account, and it says declare. Yeah, so it's just asking for us to declare. We're not gonna be creating it here. We're gonna leave the creation in the onload event, okay? So just declare it to be available to every single, to the entire application. So the scope is the entire form class. And then it asks us on the load event of the form class, create the object my account like this. Okay, so we're gonna give a bank account number, the name of the customer, and an initial balance for that, $10,000 here. So I'm gonna go to the events of the form. Look, if I want to do this on the load event of the form, I'm just gonna go select the form, go to the events. By mistake, I have double-clicked the form before, so the event is already created. I'm gonna double-click there. Here's the event. Then I'm gonna just create the new account. Okay, so I'm gonna say my account equals to new bank account. Here's the account number, the customer name, and the initial balance of $10,000. Okay. Now, how about we get rid of this label 6 click here? It's bothering me because it's not doing anything. So I need to figure out who's label 6. So I'm gonna do a few clicks there to see if I can figure that out. Label 6, well, I think that label 6 has been removed already. Let's see here. I think that this used to belong to, here, see here? This label used to be called label 6. So now we have an event there. If I delete this and save, the event might have, see, it went away because it was empty. Sometimes this works well. Sometimes you have to remove the event from that control and then you have to go back to your code and delete it manually. Okay, but do this carefully. I would rather you leaving blank events in your code than trying to delete the event and screwing things up and getting all messed up and having to restart your project again because you can no longer get it to work anymore. Okay, so what's next now? Next step, okay, so here we have. So in the onload event, we create the my account object, we set the initial values, and set the initial value for the labels as well. So we're gonna have two sets, account number, name, and balance, according to the properties of our my account. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the codes, and I'm gonna say in the load, I'm gonna say LBL account number equals to, LBL account number dot text equals to my account dot account number dot to string. Okay, so we are converting the account number, which is an integer. We're converting to a string, and we are setting the label for the account number. We're gonna do this for the name as well. Customer name dot txt dot text, sorry, my account dot customer name. It's already a string. I don't need to do anything further here. Then I have LBL balance dot text, which I'm gonna set to my account dot balance. But this time around, I'm gonna format this as currency. I'm gonna say string, sorry, to string. And in parentheses, I'm gonna add the format, which is currency format. I think it can be capital C or lowercase c. Both of them will work fine. Let's give this a try. Let's run this. Okay, so here we have account number. Here's the account number, the name, and the balance. Okay, and now we need to put together what happens when I click the process button. Okay, so process will withdraw if withdraw is selected, this amount, or deposit if it's this amount, or if this radio button. Okay, so we're gonna have to do something very simple here in the click of the button. Okay, so in the click of the button, I have selected the button. I'm gonna go to the events. I'm gonna go to the click, and with this click, I'm going to do what? Who can tell me what I should try to do here? In the chat. What should I be doing? Mustafa, thank you. Yes, we have to see if it's a withdraw or if it's a deposit. Now, because they are mutually exclusive, and I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to select withdraw by default. So I have withdraw there. I'm going to say withdraw will be checked by default. Okay. So because it's mutually exclusive, I can just say if withdraw is checked, do this, else do that. So I'm going to say if rbtn withdraw dot checked, this will return true or false. I'm gonna do my account dot withdraw. Now I have to withdraw an amount. Let's hold that for a second. Else, otherwise, it can only be a deposit. So either a withdraw or deposit. Deposit here. Okay, now it's a value as well. But if you look at our control, we have this text box control. So the amount is in a string format. So how about we do this? How about we declare, before we test, how about we declare, let's say a double. And I'm going to call this, well, not here, sorry, wrong place. Here in the form. So before the if, I'm gonna say double amount. That's the amount that has been typed. And I'm gonna say that this is equals to the text amount, text amount dot text, but we're gonna convert this to a double. So I'm gonna say double dot parse. And then I can say withdraw this amount or deposit this amount. Okay, in a nutshell, this is it. We're going to be expanding this a little bit more, but let's hold on for a second on that. So we did the loading, we did the process. Here's the process. So the process button, when clicked, should do the following: check if it's a deposit or withdraw. We did that. Call the appropriate method. We did that. Show a message that it was successful. We did not do this yet, but we're going to do it right now. So I'm going to just put the message there. Great. But there are quite a few things that can go wrong with this. Can anyone tell me a few things that could go wrong here in the selected code? What are some of the things that can go wrong? And when I say can go wrong, things that can trigger an exception. Okay, color 6, we have to catch the statements we throw for the out of range. Yes, so we have to catch these exceptions here. So we have one exception, two exceptions here. Okay, so we have to catch them. Anything else that can go wrong? Yes, Teresa. User may type characters or negative numbers. That's fine. So there is also the character thing. We have to catch if it's a negative number or 0, if the amount that we are withdrawing is greater than the balance, and if the text box has characters on it. So we have a few exceptions that we should be catching here. Okay, so let's start that. Okay, let's put in Teresa again. This would be the proper location to put our try catch block. So we could do a try catch that would go like this: try, and would encompass the entire code. Okay, and then the first catch that I'm gonna put together, let's go through the catches here, the throws that we did. So we have an argument out of range here. Okay, so let's catch this one. Let's start by catching this one. I'm gonna say catch argument out of range error, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to show a message as well. I'm gonna say error dot message. I'm gonna call the message of our error. Okay, also the other one that we can have characters there. So the character, actually, you know what, before we do that, let's do, let me see here, argument out of range exception. Yeah. Yeah, so we have this one. I'm just thinking here if we should put something a little bit more specific here or just keep exception. Let's keep the general one for now. Let's test this. Let's give it a run. Okay, so we just have one exception that we're catching. We're catching the out of range exception, which is this one here. So if the amount is negative. Okay, so if we say something like this, if we put, I don't know, 400, we are not updating yet the label. Are we updating? We did not? Huh. Let me see this. Yeah, we are not. Sorry. We missed something here. We need to update the balance value, the balance amount, okay? Once we change the balance, we need to update it. So we have to say text of the LBL balance is equals to amount, sorry, my account, and you're gonna get the new balance. I'm gonna say balance. And we're gonna convert this to a string, but format as currency. Okay, so let's give this a try again. So if I say I want to withdraw 500, successful transaction, and then we have the new balance. Okay, so if I keep doing this. Okay, so again, as you can see, the amount keeps decreasing. Now, we are catching case like this, the exception, you see? Specified argument was out of range. Okay, so, but, and even negative numbers as well. We have the message there that cannot be negative. Great, but we are not catching yet if I want to deduct a value like this. If I want to withdraw 9,000 from 8,000, it's going to trigger an exception. Look, amount cannot be greater than the balance. System exception. So we're going to handle that exception as well. So I can say here, catch exception error. And I can say something similar to this one. But let's do this as well. Let's catch also the invalid characters here in the amount. So you can say catch format exception. That's the name of that type of exception. I'm gonna call this error as well. And here inside, I'm gonna just put my own message. I'm gonna say invalid characters in the amount. And I know I'm not using error, but that's fine. So I think that with this, we should be able to handle everything there, everything that can go wrong. Okay, so withdraw, let me put a regular number again. So withdraw is working fine. If I try a negative number, it shows the exception error. If I try 0, it shows the exception error as well. If I try a number or a withdraw larger than what is there, like 9,500, I'm catching that. Amount cannot be greater than the balance. And deposit 0. Let's try a valid deposit of $100. Yeah, so our application seems to be running. Any questions here? Because we are done with this part here. So try catch block is handling well. Now we need to work on our test application. So far for our application, any questions? We are done with that. Now we need to move on to our test application to be able to test this. So again, any questions so far? We should be good here. I mean, there was nothing too fancy here. Okay, so for testing, we're gonna do the testing project, the testing part right next. Okay, so maybe hold that thought there, Teresa, and I might be covering that. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so let's go for a 5 minutes quick break. Once we get back, we finish the test application and we move on to further exercise. Okay, 5 minutes and we will be back. Okay, so let's get this one going here. So let's get to our, yes, Jasmine, I put your presence there. Let's get to our test project. Okay, so in our test project, we're gonna start right here. So on our solution, I'm going to right click and let's see if there are any special instructions there. So within the bank solution, add a new test project called bank tests. Okay, rename the unit test to bank app tests. Okay, so let's start with bank tests. Okay, so solution, I'm gonna right click solution, add new project. This is a unit test project.NET framework. I'm going to name it as bank tests. So bank tests. I'm gonna keep framework as the latest one. I'm gonna hit create. And we should have our new app, our new test project here. And the instructions that we got there was to name, just see something here, bank app. Yeah, so rename the unit file class to bank app tests. Okay, so let's do this, bank app tests. Well, actually, you know what, I'm going to change a little bit this exercise. Let's name it and be consistent with the bank account name. Okay, so let's name it as bank account tests. So instead of unit test, I can right click, I can go to rename, and I can call this bank account tests. I'm just going to change the exercise a little bit. I think it's better if you keep it like this. It's just asking to change the tag if I want to change the class name as well. I'm going to confirm this. And here we have. Okay. So now, according to the exercise, we're gonna have initially two test methods. One, to test the deposit method is updating the balance correctly. You can call it deposit valid amount updates balance. So we have one for deposits. Don't worry about testing the exception yet. Yeah. So we're not testing the exceptions yet. We are just testing if the amount is correct for the withdraw and for the deposit. More or less the same test, but for the different methods. Okay. So you're gonna test if the amount that we are deducting, the final balance, is a match. Okay. Not the exception, but just a regular transaction here. So we're gonna call this deposit, and I cannot select here, deposit valid amount update. So let me just have this open in a second window here. So our test, okay, so let's do the first one here. So let's use this method and let's just rename it deposit, which is the method name, valid amount, which is the amount that I'll be trying to deposit. I'm gonna deposit a positive amount, and I'm gonna check, this is my expected result, if it's updating correctly the balance. Okay. Yeah, so Clara, as I mentioned, I just decided to change the exercise a little bit. Yeah, you're correct. If you name it to bank app test, that's fine. I just saw that I should change that exercise a little bit. It should actually be called bank account tests for the class name, but that's fine. If you just name it like bank app test, that's fine as well. I just decided to change it a little bit to be more consistent with what I was talking to you last class. Yeah, okay, that's it. So what is it that our deposit will have? Well, we're gonna have to do the three sections. We're gonna have to arrange, we're gonna have to act, and we're gonna have to assert. Okay, so in the arrange part, what should I do here? What should I do here? Can anyone give me your arrange if you have done the exercise, or as you go through here, make a new bank account? Yep, Clara, I like that. Teresa, that's correct as well, Teresa, but we need to have also, as Scholar 6 and Clara are mentioning, we also need to have a bank account. Okay, so we need a new bank account there. Okay, so I have to have a deposit and an expected, yes, but we also have to have the bank account. Okay, so I'm going to start with the bank account here. I'm going to say bank account. I'm going to say my account equals to new bank account. And I'm going to use a few parameters here. I'm going to say, let's say bank account 1, that's a number. I'm going to use the example here of Clara. I'm going to put my name there as the client name, and I'm gonna say that the amount, let's say it's $1,000. Let's make this $1,000. I don't have that. I don't have $10,000 to deposit there. Anyway, now we get to that problem. Remember the problem here? Bank account is not visible. Let's fix that. Yes, so let's start that process. We have to make a reference from bank tests. We have to make a reference to our bank project. So I'm going to, yeah, we're gonna fix quite a few things here. So let's start with the reference. Let's make a reference from bank tests to bank. So I'm gonna go to right click, references, add reference. Then I'm gonna go to project solution. I'm gonna check bank. I'm gonna say okay, and we're fine here. Now let's look at the namespace of bank account. Namespace is bank. So I'm gonna go to my test. I'm gonna say using bank. Okay, so I'm gonna use that namespace, but it's still not visible. Not visible because, and I think that someone answered that. Let's see, reference and public. Because if we go back to bank account, the class bank account is not public yet. It's internal, so we have to say public class. With that, we have now our bank account. Okay, so we are creating our bank account here. We're gonna deposit a certain amount. I'm gonna say double deposit amount, let's say, okay, or amount as Teresa put it there. So deposit amount, I'm gonna say I'm gonna deposit $100, and I'm gonna have as an expected return. I'm gonna say that I expect $1,100 in there as the balance. Okay. So I'm going to, so there's no return value for the deposits, but I want to check if the balance is matching after that, okay? So with this done, make more space. Actually, let me break this down so it can make it more visible. With this done, how should, and I'm just checking for questions here. No questions, okay. Any questions? How should my act look like now? What should my act say? According to this code here, what should my act look like? Anyone? Yes, we call. Teresa, yes, double actual. Well, but Teresa, look at this. Deposits doesn't have a return type, okay? It's void, okay? So you don't return the deposit to actual. We're gonna do something slightly different. Yes, we're gonna do a deposit like Clara is giving an example there. We're gonna do something like this. We're gonna say my account, because sometimes it's not about a return value that comes from the method. Maybe it's some other value in the object that we have to check. So my account dot deposit, we're gonna act, and we're gonna deposit this amount. Now again, this is not returning a value, okay? But if I ask you, what should we expect? What is the actual value here? Where should we get the actual from? How does it look like? Give me an answer there in the chat. How should what is the actual? Yeah, it should be 1100, I know, but how should my next line look like? Inside the act, how should my next line look like? I need something there. Come on. I have 27 people in the call, 26. Yes, yes. It's not the time yet for expected. Expected is in the assert. So we have expected here. We're gonna have a double actual here. And double actual should be equals to what? Come on. Not no. Actual, I'm declaring actual here. It's not the time yet for me to set it. I mean, I cannot say this. Because I'm not, what does that mean? I actual has to be, as Clara and George are put in the color 6 as well. It has to be equal to the balance. Because that's what I want to check. Okay, I want to check if actual is equal to expected. So I have to get the balance of the account, okay? And now, very simply, what I do is I go to assert. Assert what? Are equal expected actual. That's it. So I'm checking if the expected value is equal to the actual value. And we have our first test. Questions, comments, concerns. Anything there? I'm gonna check Padlet as well. Very quiet Padlet these days. Okay, so let's give this a try. Let's go to our test explorer and run the test. Let's see here. So it's a long name, but that's okay. So let's run this. Okay, we are all good there. Okay. Now, here's what I'm gonna do. Because a lot, at least as far as your answers went there, a lot of you did not have a chance to do this exercise. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to copy where we are right now, and you're gonna take this to the end. We have to, because again, I want us to make good use of our time here. So you have to do a similar thing for withdraw, and you have to write 3 more test methods here, okay? And flag and categorize them. So A, 2, B, and C, you're gonna be taking this code that I'm be providing to you right now. I'm gonna share this code on Padlet and on Slack. You're gonna take this code and you're gonna code the rest of it, okay? If you don't finish today, that's fine. We will carry on next class. But you have to do some hands-on. From my initial class, from my initial question, not too many people had finished this. Let me just ask this again. Who has finished all those exercises here? All those tests? You did? Okay, Clara did. Teresa, anybody else? Okay. Okay. Okay, so here are the 2 options that we have, and I'm gonna ask this to everybody. Let me see how I can get a good answer for that. I mean, a good way to gather that. Because I can demonstrate the whole thing now, or I can give you time to demonstrate, to try that. And try with the rest of our half an hour. You could give this a try there. You know what? I'll demonstrate the rest of it. And again, you have the chance to do the exercise from scratch again, or just watch this. I'll just demo the entire thing. And I'll leave it up to you to decide later if you want to do it from scratch. And now you have the video to follow along. You do whatever you want to do after that, okay? So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep demonstrating here. Okay, so let's do the next one. So let's do the withdraw. Withdraw valid amount, updates balance. Very similar to this. Very, very similar. The only difference will be that instead of deposit, it's withdraw. So we're gonna say public void withdraw. So we have a withdraw. We're gonna send valid amounts. Valid amount. We're gonna see if it updates the balance. Okay, and we're gonna do again something very similar to this. Our range will be exactly the same. Let's do it the same way. So you're gonna arrange. We're gonna now. We're not gonna deposit. We're gonna withdraw an amount of $100. Then the expected balance is 900. I had 1,000. I withdraw 100. I expect 900. I'm gonna have the act in the assert as well. Instead of calling deposit, I'm gonna call withdraw. And I'm gonna withdraw the withdraw amount. Okay, I'm gonna get the new balance and I'm gonna check if it's a match. Okay, I'm gonna run the test again. Okay, I have a question here from caller. Is it okay to use numbers or should we do my account balance minus valid amount? I'm assuming for expect. It's okay to do that as well. Sorry. Actually, let me. Yeah, it would be okay to do that. I mean, you could have said that you expect my account dot balance minus withdraw. It would be fine. It's fine as well. Either way. Okay? That is okay too. Perfect. Okay, and so here we are. Here we have all properly tested and working fine. Okay? Now, let's keep going. We're gonna have 3 more methods to test the following exception scenarios. So, when you try to withdraw more than the balance, the code should throw an exception. You can give the name of the methods. When you try to withdraw 0 or a negative amount, the code should throw an exception. Give whatever name you want. You try to deposit 0 or negative, the code should throw an exception, and then you should give a proper name for that. So let's start with the withdraw more than the balance. So how should I name that? What should I name this? So if I go here to create our new test methods, public void. How should I name this one here? If I try to withdraw more than the balance, we get an exception. How should I name this? Withdraw more than balance exception. Great. I like that, Teresa. Yep, so withdraw is the method. More than the balance is what we are providing. Exception is what we expect. So I'm going to use this. So withdraw more than balance exception. And here we have. So we're gonna do some arrangements here. Well, first off, actually, let's keep our expected. Let's keep this as is. Our arrange, we're gonna withdraw. Let's say that we're gonna withdraw 1,100. So we create an account that has $1,000 balance, and we try to withdraw 1,100. Okay, that's what we are arranging. Now, in terms of acting, we're just gonna try my account dot withdraw, and we're gonna try to withdraw this amount. If I try to run this, we get an error here because we get amount cannot be greater than. Got it. That's fine. So what are we missing here? What is it that we're missing to do? Yes. So we have to say, here in the header of the method, the test method, we have to say what is the expected exception that we are waiting here. Okay, so we have to say expected exception. We're gonna say type of, and then this one is the argument out of range. So argument out of range. Let's just check that. So for the withdraw, see, oh no, actually we expect this exception here, isn't it? Amount greater. Yeah, we expect the exception. No, this is not okay. This is just exception. Okay, we expect that. Our assert will be empty because we're going to be checking against this one here. Okay, and let's try this again. Let's run all of them. Awesome. Okay. Any questions? Any questions, concerns? All clear? Okay. So let's move forward here to the two ones that are similar. We're going to be testing against 0 or negative numbers. Okay. So I can say something like this. Let's say test methods. I'm gonna do first with the withdraw. So even though withdraw and deposit, they both validate for below 0 values, but we have to create test cases for both of them. Okay, so test method here, public void. We're gonna say withdraw, and then the way I'm gonna describe this, I'm gonna say amount 0 or negative. Okay, so I'm gonna say less than 0 underscore exception, and I'm gonna arrange. Now here's the thing, you could break it down into two separate tests. You could do a test for 0 and a test for negative numbers, okay, if you want to, but the exercise is not asking for that. So the exercise is only asking you for 0 or less. Then you could potentially just build this for 0, assuming that it's gonna work for 0 and less. Ideally, I would say that you'd build this for 0 or less, and so you test for 0, you test for negative numbers and 0. I'm gonna, for the sake of our test here, I'm just gonna keep that one single arrangement here. I'm not gonna break this down into two methods, okay? The exercise is only asking for one, so we're just gonna keep one. So I'm gonna get the same type of arrangement here, but our withdraw amount will be equals to 0, okay? So that I can test the upper limit to make sure that 0 is being handled properly. Our act will have my account dot withdraw, and we're gonna be sending the withdraw amount. Now, in this case here, the exception that we have is argument out of exception. So I'm gonna go to the header. I'm gonna say expected exception, type of argument out of exception, and here, and we in our cert is empty because we're testing against an exception. Okay, so let's give this a try. Let's run this test as well. And we have all 4 of them passed. All good here. Now, the last one, we're gonna pretty much copy this one here. So it will be a very similar one. Test methods. I'm gonna say public void. This one here is called withdraw amount 0 or negative exception. I'm gonna call the other one as deposit amount 0 or negative exception. Okay, the exception type expected is the same one. Our arrangements will be the same, but I'm gonna call this deposit amount. Then we're gonna have our act. In our act, we're gonna say my account dot deposit, and we're gonna say what is the deposit amount here. Our cert will be nothing because I'm expecting an argument out of range exception. And we have, if I run this again, we're gonna have all methods, all test methods passed. Okay. Okay. Questions so far? Does it make sense for everyone? Teresa, did you have your questions answered here? Okay, I'm going to assume that yes. And the last part of our, okay. And the last part of our exercise is just decorating all 5 test methods with your name as the owner. And category should be set to important for the first 2. test methods, and very important for the last 3 methods. Okay, so let's just do that and we get this done. So we're gonna say here that owner, you're gonna put your name there. I'm gonna put my name here, so Ederson. I'm gonna put all of them my name. And then let's set the category. So the test category is very important. It's very important for this one, for the second one, and very important for the third, fourth, and fifth one. Okay, now if we run the tests again, we should be able to see the traits with the ones that we have just created. Okay, so with that, we are able to filter by the traits that we set up, and we are also able to group them, to group by the traits. Sorry. So we can say grouping. I want to group by traits. And here we have, very important, the owner, Ederson, and that's about it for the exercise. Let me, again, as you think for a second, if there are any questions here, I'm gonna zip this code and provide it on Slack and Padlet as well. I will not be uploading this yet to Centennial because I want to make sure that all sections have a chance to do this exercise. Okay, so let me go back to the folder. No problem, Mary Christine. So in the folder, I have to, when you zip things up, zip everything. So I'm gonna just zip it up. So I'm uploading it to Padlet and to Slack as well, to our channel on Slack. Okay, so the file is there. I'm now on Padlet. I think that it didn't upload yet. No, it did not. Okay, perfect. So it's on Padlet as well. So Padlet and Slack, you have both of them over there. Okay, great. So I have a question here that came to me as private, so I'm gonna keep it private, but I'm gonna answer that to everyone. This is a question about assignments. So about assignments, should we start the interface with the word public or not? In other words, should I use public interface, iDrawable, or only interface iDrawable? So here's the thing. You are only required to use public interface if that interface will be used in another project. But for the case of the project, of the assignments, just to guarantee that things will work out well, make it public. So the interfaces that you're going to be creating for the assignments, for assignment 4, the iDrawable, for example, make it public. Don't keep the internal. There might be some implications there if you keep it internal. Okay, so make them public. You can make the interfaces and even the classes as well. You can make them all public, so you don't have any sort of problems when you are inheriting from each other. Okay, make them public. Great, awesome. Okay, so what else then? What else? So here's the thing. I'm not planning, to be honest, I'm not planning on new content because next week is a test. Next week, between this week and next week, I want to do exercises for the tests. So I have 2 exercises here under week 13. If you go there, you're gonna see programming exercises 15 and 16. Those are the exercises that will get you ready for the test. You take this home, okay? You take those exercises home. You do them. Do them. Don't come Thursday not having done them, okay? Actually, Thursday, we will be using our time there. Let me just look at my schedule here. Here's the thing. You have 2 choices here. You can start on your own those 2 exercises, but next class, we're gonna get them going. I'll be giving some time during next class to do those exercises. So I will not be only demonstrating them. I'll be giving you time to do the exercise in class, whether you're gonna do it before the class or during the class. It's up to you. Do it the best way you think it should be done. But again, next class on Thursday, I'll be giving time to do the exercise. I'll be demonstrating the exercise, and you're gonna be doing our quiz number 5 and our final one. Okay? So both of them are here. That's what's next for you. Any questions about this or anything else? What about coming Monday? What's your question, MD Hilal? I mean, we do have coming Monday as our class. Friday, I mean, I don't have class with you on Friday. Friday is the holiday, but Monday is not. Was that your question? Okay, so yeah, so next Monday we still have class. It's the last class before the final test. It's a class that is more dedicated to exercise and getting you ready, demonstration. But in terms of content, that's it about content. Okay? Any questions about that? If you want to use the next 6 minutes to get the exercise started, you can. I'll leave it up to you, but that's what's next. And I'll stick around. If anyone wants to talk to me about anything, I'm around for the next 5 minutes. But that's about it. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'll see you all next Thursday. Again, any questions? Let me know. I'm here. Okay. Thank you, Clara. Siron, I put your attendance there. No problem. I just put it. Mustafa, thank you. Thank you, Parampreet. MD Hilal, Yusuf, thank you. Joanna, Shaminda, thank you. Thank you too. See you next class. George, thank you. Seima, Shaminda.